So Tyler Guyton apparently had a really good day at practice yesterday. He was going up against Micah Parsons for a lot of the practice, had success doing so. I'm optimistic about Tyler Guyton. This is a guy who I believe has a really good work ethic. You hear him in an interview say he didn't take a trip, he didn't take a vacation. He's been working every day with Duke Manyweather, who's a respected offensive line coach, one of the best offensive line coaches in the world. This guy has the right traits. He has long arms. He's tall. He's quick. He has good feet. So it's a combination of work ethic, great coaching, and great traits, which to me makes me feel like this guy could come in right away and at the very least be above average. And if he's at least above average his rookie season, that's going to be huge for the Cowboys. Anything more that you get from him is going to be a plus. But I believe 3, 4, 5 years down the line, this guy is going to be an all-pro player at that position. That's just the caliber of player he has the potential of being. Like I talked about, he has a lot of things going for him. He's with an organization that has a lot of success drafting offensive linemen in the first round. So they have an eye for talent when it comes to that position, especially when you're drafting in the first round. So I'm optimistic about Tyler Guyton. I think day one, he's going to be an above average player. He's going up against Myles Garrett in his first game. So it's definitely baptism by fire. So I'm excited to see how this player pans out for the Cowboys. And the reason why I thought that drafting Tyler Guyton was the smart move was because you trade back in the draft from 24 to 29. Now, I don't know if I was cool with drafting him at 24. That might have been a little too high for me. But you trade back, you take him at 29, and then you also use that pick that you got from the Detroit Lions to take Cooper Beebe in the third round, which, I mean, you address 2 spots on your offensive line with essentially the 24th overall pick when you look at it like that. But, you know, it's a good practice. And we need to see more from Tyler Guyton when the pads come on. That's going to be more telling than when the pads are off. You hear about this all the time in training camp. You really don't know what you have until the pads come on. So this is a good first step for Tyler Guyton. But, you know, when you hear people say that, hey, he's playing with power now, that's something he didn't really play with at Oklahoma. And the thing with Tyler Guyton is going into the league, his flaws were that he wasn't great with his hands and he needed to improve as a run blocker. Well, it seems like he's gotten better with his hands and he's improving as a run blocker. He needs to be more consistent with his technique. And if that's the case, I think that, man, you know, you could legitimately have a player on your hands if he improves in those aspects. And it's good that now it looks like he's going to start getting first team reps. You know, there was a report from, not a report, but there was a prediction from Bobby Belt saying that this guy might not play for the entire first season. I wasn't totally bought in on that take just because I didn't think there was any way that Chuma Edoga, a guy who isn't very good, was going to take the job of a first round pick, a guy that the front office clearly thought enough about to draft him in the first round within the first 30 picks of the draft. I didn't buy that whatsoever. And it seems like after this practice, I wouldn't be surprised if you never see Chuma Edoga back practicing or playing with the first team unless something happened to Tyler Guyton. As long as Tyler Guyton is healthy, I don't think Chuma Edoga is going to be back on the first team. I think he made a real impression yesterday with that practice. And, you know, one thing with Tyler Guyton that I think is going to serve him well his rookie season is just that his feet are really good, like really, really good. He's going to be able to stay in front of people. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm more so worried about, hey, where are your hands at? Are you going to be powerful enough to anchor against a guy like Myles Garrett? Now, granted, you're not going to be playing Myles Garrett every week, but I think you guys understand where I'm going from this. Are you going to be able to be powerful enough to anchor against some of these stronger defensive ends? You'll be able to stay in front of them. He'll be able to stay in front of them. I'm not worried about that. But are you going to be good enough to or strong enough to anchor and play with power against some of these guys? So Tyler Guyton, I'm impressed with this practice that he had yesterday, and hopefully he can keep stacking good practices on top of each other.